What are my thoughts on book ads? Now, someone reached out to me the other day. They'd listened to one of my episodes, my podcast episode, and they'd reach out to me through email and they'd ask me what my thoughts were on ads. Now, this episode, it might fly over the head of some people who are just starting off, but it will be something that you will come to in the future. So I recommend you should listen to this episode from start to finish. Now, again, if you are a beginner, you will find when you do release your book on whatever platform, whether that's the Amazon Kindle store or whatever, but you will find that you may get a little bit of a spurt of sales at the start because your book is fresh, it's new. It might end up in the new releases or whatever if you're lucky, but you will find over time, if you don't kind of do something at all to maintain its kind of hold in the store, naturally it will fall down through the ranking as it gets older and as new books come along and kind of replace it. So it's almost like a conveyor belt. It's almost like a news feed on Facebook. The fresh content is only there for a while, and then more fresh content comes along and pushes everything down the page. So you will find that if you don't do anything to keep your book up there, you will find it will fall down, and it's not unusual for your book to fall beyond the million book rank mark, and so it's totally invisible to everybody. So in that case, if you want to continue making those book sales, you are going to have to prop your book up with some kind of paid advertisement, or you're going to have to do some promotions or something yourself to get it back up there. Now, a lot of people do paid promotions for the books. So when we are looking at paid promotions, we are looking at people who are maybe buying ads on Google. We may be looking at people who are buying ads on Facebook. We may be looking at ads maybe bought on the Amazon platform. So you're probably well aware, if you do go, well, probably the most obvious one, if you do go to the Amazon store and you do a search for maybe a particular book you're looking to buy yourself, if you scroll a little bit down the page, you will find sponsored ads below it, and those books are probably in the same niche or the same area as you are. So if you do buy ads on Amazon, that is where your book is going to be seen. So that's how you're going to make your sales. Now, unfortunately, I have seen a lot of authors in forums and in some of the groups complaining that Amazon ads are now a complete rip-off. They can't make any profit on them. They're putting more money in and they're getting less money out. And it's a big swindle, and it's this and it's that. And what can the average author do to kind of get their book in front of that audience? But how can they do it profitably? So at the moment I am listening to a great book called Traffic Secrets, and it's called by Russell Brunson. Now you can get it on Kindle or you can get it on Audible. I have both copies and I'm listening to it now. In that book and in the audiobook, he goes into a lot of kind of the basics of getting traffic to your website or whatever. It's not just towards authors, it's towards anybody that is looking to get traffic to the business, or looking to get customers in the door. But he doesn't go into the kind of specifics of buying Facebook ads, or he doesn't go into the specifics of Amazon ads or buying ads on any platform. What he does is he goes into the kind of basics that are useful on every platform. It doesn't matter what it is, or whether it's TikTok today or Instagram tomorrow, whatever. The platforms always change, but the same kind of procedure or the same kind of basics always hold up. So I highly recommend you do get a copy of that, because it's really, really worth listening to. Now, Russell brings up an important point, and this was something that I had found myself years ago, and I'm going to help you here. You're going to learn a lot from my mistakes. Now, many years ago, when my internet was dial-up, so if you don't know what that was like, you had to actually connect your phone line to the internet, and that was how you get onto the internet. There was a modem, or there was something on your PC that would dial out a number, it would connect you to the internet, and then you would be on. So there was no broadband, there was no any of this instant access. You had to actually wait to get onto the internet. Now, back then there was a course that was created by Chris Carpenter, and it was called Google Cache. And why I'm bringing this up was Russell had actually mentioned it in his audiobook, and I had bought a copy of it at the time. Now, what Google Cache was, as you're probably well aware, if you do a search on Google, you're probably well aware that you get a list of websites come down in the rankings. So from whatever the most popular website is, would usually find the top slot. But you will find then, before you get to that website, there are usually sponsored listings. So usually ads at the top and at the bottom of that page. And then you'll also find Google will have ads on the right hand side all the way down. So you'll find a lot of ads on the search results. And in that course by Chris Carpenter, what he was doing was he was showing us how we could buy ads on Google. So say for example I had a product on dog training, maybe it was a dog training ebook and I was trying to sell it. What I would do is I would buy ads on Google in the search results under the keywords probably dog training ebook, all the kind of searches that I would want my book to show up in the results, because people were probably looking for an answer to their problem and I was hoping that my book would show up there. So what you would do is you would buy your ads and you would send the traffic over to your website. Now, stupidly at the time, I didn't have a website of my own. What I was doing was I was driving traffic to other people's websites, and I was an affiliate at the time, which meant that if somebody purchased that ebook on that website, I would probably make 50 or 60% commission on it. So I could make $20, I could make $30 on each sale. So what I was doing was I was buying those Google ads and I was driving all that paid traffic over to somebody else's website, and then I was getting the odd sale now and then. Now, stupidly, and this is where you're going to learn a few things, first thing you should do is you should never drive somebody over to somebody else's website unless you get their details first. Now what I mean by that is when I used to buy those paid ads, I would direct everybody over to that affiliate offer and I would move on. I would try and find the next person to send over to that website. Never at any stage did I ever think to myself, you know something, maybe I should get these people on an email list, and then when I have them on an email list, then I can direct them over to that website. So I was actually losing that. If I had held onto all those people's email addresses, I could have emailed them over and over and over again, and I could continue to promote that, you know, dog training book over and over again to them, and hopefully probably made more sales, so it would have been more profitable. But stupidly I didn't do that, and unfortunately that is what a lot of people are doing. Like at the moment, they are buying ads on Amazon, they're buying ads on Facebook, they're buying ads on Google, and they're just sending all that paid traffic over there, but they're not trying to find some way of holding on to it. Sorry about that, there's some squeaky car going past. But anyway, they're not trying to hold on to that traffic, they're letting it go over there. Now, circling back to the question I was asked, what are my thoughts on paid ads? Now, paid ads actually do work on Amazon because I have been using them for years and I have been using them profitably. It's worked out really, really well for me, and it's helped me keep one of my kids' books high up in the ranking because I am paying for ads to keep it there. Now, unfortunately, a lot of authors who have books on the Amazon Kindle store are probably selling their books for 99 cents. Now, if you can imagine, if I wanted to buy a good place on the Amazon store, you know, a good prominent place underneath somebody else's book, so I could sell more copies of my book, if I am paying, now this is an exaggeration now, but if I was paying $2 to get the top slot on that page, and yet I was only making 70 cents on my book, I'm sure you can see that book wouldn't be profitable, that advertising campaign wouldn't be profitable, and I would be scratching my head like everyone else saying, how the hell are people buying ads on this platform when you're not actually making a profit? And that is what authors are finding at the minute, is that they can't pay enough, or they're actually paying too much to buy those slots, and they're not making a profit on the other side. Now, Russell Brunson brings up in his book one of the things that you will find with all platforms, and it was only when he actually described it last night that yes, it did click into place in my own head. When you find a new platform comes along, so it could be Instagram, it could be Facebook, it could be TikTok, whatever platform it is, you will find when they maybe set up some kind of advertisements on the website, they are going to be very, very cheap because they are trying to get as much people as they can over to their platform. So when Facebook opened up, it was probably a lot cheaper to advertise there than it was on Google. So everybody jumped from Google and they jumped over to Facebook to buy ads over there. But over time, those ads got more expensive and they got more and more expensive. Now, what happened on Google was that originally those ads were very, very cheap. I found that myself when I was over there trying to make money as an affiliate. I could buy clicks to a website for next to nothing, but then the rules changed and some websites you couldn't actually direct traffic to. You had to put in some kind of code, or you had to make your website look prettier or something like that. But Google started bringing in these new rules, and they started driving up the cost of ads of people who weren't supplying whatever needs they needed. So for example, if your ads were 25 cents today, but Google thought maybe that your website was ugly, that it wasn't going to be profitable for them, they would probably drive that ad up maybe to $1, $1.50 or whatever, and all of a sudden then, as you can probably see, whatever money you're making on the back end is gone because the ads are too expensive to send the traffic to it. Now, that is something that has happened on Amazon, and it's something that's happened on Facebook. Those ads on Amazon at the very, very start, they were for pennies. You could buy your slot for next to nothing, but as more people got on, it got more competitive, and Amazon finally said, well, let's make a good profit on this. Why are we selling these clicks for next to nothing? Start putting the prices up. So again, the prices started to creep up, and then again, the authors then unfortunately found out that they were paying far more for their ads than they were actually making on the books. Now, what can you do about that? Well, one of the things that you can do, and what I'm doing at the moment, is you need to be making more of a profit from your book than your ad. So say for example, if I'm paying $1 for an ad and my book is $1, I'm making $1 profit, well then that ad isn't costing me any money. But if I am paying $1 for an ad and I am making maybe $3 or $4 profit from my book, which you can probably see here, for every dollar I'm spending, I'm making $2 or $3 profit on the other side. So that is something you should think. Is there some way you can drive up the price of your book, make it more attractive, but yet have it more expensive, so that you're actually making more of a commission on each copy sold, so that your ads are profitable? Now, in my own case, I used to sell these books singly, so there were 17 books, and again they were probably going for about 99 cents. I think at the later stages I had them up to $2.99, so I was probably making maybe £1 or $1.50 or whatever it was profit on the books. So those ads weren't as profitable for me because I wasn't making as much money. Now what I did was I bundled all my books up into a box set. So there's 17 books in this box set, and at the moment I am selling it for $9.99, so I'm making 70% commission on my box set. Now, if you can imagine, if you are making $7 or so from a box set, and you are only paying, or even paying $1 for an ad, for every copy that I'm selling, again, if it was a sale, one click was a sale. So if I made a sale every time someone clicked on that ad, I should be making $6 or so profit from it. And unfortunately, a lot of the authors at the moment are blind to that fact, that they need to have something in place on the other side that is going to make them a bigger profit. Now, even if you are making a loss on your ads, if you haven't got maybe a box set or something like that, the very least you should be doing is to get those customers, those people who are clicking on those ads, you need to get them on an email list. So, you may have a campaign at the moment that mightn't be profitable, it might be making you a loss, but if you have something in place in the background where you can maybe get them on email list, where maybe you can advertise your second book to them, your third book to them, if you had them on email list and you could advertise your next 3 or 4 or 5 books, even though you did make a loss at the beginning, it would be profitable in the long run. So if you did find maybe that you were making 30% loss or whatever, or even 100% loss, even if you had them on an email list, if you sold your second book to them, you would be back up and you even again, and then any book after that would be a profit. So again, this is a lot longer than most of my podcast episodes are and these videos are, but I just want to try and explain it to you that unfortunately a lot of authors at the moment are being pushed out of these stores because the clicks are getting too high, and what they're not thinking is, how can I make a bigger profit on my book on the other end? How can I even make these books or these book ads break even? And that is one of the ways you can do it, is to, once that person has finished your paid book that you've advertised to them, have some way and a really, really strong call to action where you can get them over, get them into an opt-in page, get them on an email list, and then in the future then you can email them over and over again. So eventually that person becomes profitable to you. But not only that, once you have that person's email address, It means you have the power rather than Amazon having it, and you can send an email out whenever you want. You can reach out to them, you can tell them, I've got a new book today, it's on sale, go grab it now, and it can boost your rankings up. It'll drive, the book sales up, and you will find when you do a big push like that, when you do make a lot of sales, because you have a list, Amazon sometimes clicks into place and it carries it the rest of the way, and it drives it up into the book rankings, and it'll get you in front of more customers, as it is kind of, as a lot of people are jumping in and buying that book in a short period of time. So that are my thoughts on book advertisements. As I said, a lot of people unfortunately at the moment are complaining, saying they're too expensive, I can't afford them, what can I do? I'm here to tell you that yes, they are still profitable, but you have to put some work in, you have to put your thinking cap on. How can I, like I've done, bundle up my books, make bigger box sets, make bigger profits on my book, or how can I do something to make sure that those ads are profitable for me? So again, thanks for sticking with me. I know this was a longer episode than normal, but if you are a beginner, you will have learned a lot from this. So again, thanks for sticking with me. So if you'd like to reach out to me anytime at all, if you'd like to ask me a question like that, if you reach out to barryjmcdonald@gmail.com, I'll have a look and see maybe if I can cover that question in a video or a podcast episode. Or if you'd like to know more where these episodes and podcasts are, if you do a search for WriteCome, that's WriteCome.com, you'll find the content all over the web. And if you go to the WriteCome site right now, I have a great free report which is called Words to Wealth, and if you would like to download it, you will learn 10 ways that you can make money from your keyboard, and I'm going to show you how to do it even with only a handful of words. Now if that intrigues you, and if you doubt that, head on over, download the free report, give it a go, and let me know how you get on with it. So as always, thanks for sharing your time again today. Have a great day. Bye bye.